Hello, bonjour, konnichiwa, marhaba, yakwe, and hola. Welcome to our virtual city life recap, where you're going to have the opportunity to learn from 19 different city departments on how they work and operate. You're going to have the opportunity to also see how you can get connected and make a difference within our community. So, if you're interested in also participating in an in-person event, we offer them in fall and also in the spring. You can find us at www.cityofdubuque.org/citylife. So without further ado, let's begin.
I'm sure all wish we were here in person, but we'll do the best we can. To give you an overview of the Public Works Department along with the Municipal Services Center where we work. Just a little bit about myself. I grew up in Dubuque. I actually lived in the Kaufman Avenue, or grew up in the Kaufman Avenue area. If anybody's familiar with that, up the street from Kaufman and Kane in that area. Went to school in Dubuque, graduated high school in Dubuque, and then about a year after graduating from high school, I started with the city of Dubuque in 1975. So from 1975 until 1990, I was actually out in the field and doing a number of different tasks, but street maintenance, snow and ice control are some of the things that I did on a regular basis for a number of years. In 1990, then I became the street and sewer maintenance supervisor. So that position, I was in charge of day-to-day operations of both the street maintenance staff and the sewer maintenance staff. I was in that position for about 26 years and became the Public Works Director in May of 2016. So in May, I'll have 5 years in this position. So been with the city for a fair amount of time. Of course, the size of the department that we have, I don't do it all on my own, so I want you to be aware of my supporting staff that I have. Ariel Swift is our Assistant Public Works Director. She's been with us a couple years now. Anderson Sanchi is a Resource Management Coordinator and Supervisor. He's been with us probably 6 years. I'm not getting in trouble on that one, but it's about 6 years, I believe. We also have one of our responsibilities is the landfill operation. So we have a landfill administrator, does the work for the agency, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Fleet maintenance is part of the Public Works Department. So all the city fleet, with the exception of airport and park, has their service done and maintenance done on their vehicles down here and equipment. Our field supervisor is Paul Davis, and our landfill facility supervisor is Doug Hughes. Rather large department, one of the largest departments in the city, 90 full-time workers. We have, that includes 1 2-year apprenticeship program. We started that a couple of years ago, and that's going to be wrapping up here shortly for that person. And then we're going to take a look at that program and see how we can improve on that and then move forward with that maybe this fall. We have 1 part-time workers and 3 seasonal workers. 24 service activities in the department. So there's 24 different areas that we provide service to the community. And that's what Public Works is truly all about. And that's providing service to the community. Our operating budget this year is $18.1 million with a capital improvement project, which includes equipment replacement of about $2.2 million. So there's a number of different ways we fund the Public Works Department, as we talked about. There's 7 different funding sources. Property tax, or your general fund, is supports the Public Works Department about 6% of the total funds needed for that. That's just about 1.48 million. So of that support is general fund, and that supports these, what we talked about, the 24 activities: administration, riverfront, flood control operations, street lighting, traffic signal maintenance, street and traffic signs, Port of Dubuque. Those are the activities that are supported directly with our general fund dollars that you provide. Another source of funding is a road use tax fund. Now that's money that comes from the fuel tax. So when you fill up your vehicle, a portion of that goes to the state, and then it's reimbursed back to the city based on population. Road use tax dollars funds street maintenance activity, street cleaning, and snow and ice control. Sanitary sewer fund is another fund that supports the collection, sewer maintenance, sanitary sewer maintenance collection system. So that's the sanitary sewer fund. That's part of your utility bill, and that's based on, that supports us, supports also improvements to the Water and Resource Recovery Center and their operations down there. And then the stormwater fund, and that's also part of your utility bill. Solid waste is another big area that we serve the community with. So we have refuse collection, yard waste collection, large item collection, recycling collection are all part of our solid waste and funded through the solid waste fees that are a monthly fee to the community. And the garage fund is funded a little bit different. Those are through recharges. So everything that the garage does, from fueling vehicles to maintaining vehicles, is charged back to the departments that receive those services. We also talked briefly that the City of Dubuque and Public Works supports the Solid Waste Agency, which is a 2080 agreement between Dubuque County and the City of Dubuque for the landfill operations. There's 3 board members that serves on the agency board. 2 of those are city council members. Those are Mr. Joan and Mr. Resnick. We have 1 county supervisor, Mr. Potoff, and that makes up the 3 person board. The agency adopts its own budget, and the City of Dubuque provides operational support for the agency and is reimbursed for any costs that it has. So in the Public Works Department operating budget, you'll see that there's several operating activities along with the landfill operations that are charged back to the agency, and those are fully funded through fees collected at the landfill. We have one other cost operation activity, and that's our Prena Drive salt operations. We partner with 9 bid partners. Sometimes it's 10 if Dubuque County joins us. We order, together we order the salt that we need for each of our agencies. That is normally, it's brought up on barge, normally from Louisiana salt mines. It's brought up by barge, unloaded in Dubuque at our dock on Prena Drive, and then stored in a city-owned salt storage facility, which was constructed in 2018. And now I'll play a short video that gives you an idea of what happens out in the field with our staff and the areas that they serve. So we maintain the hanging baskets down in the Port of Dubuque. We do that in partnership with the Park Department. This is our fleet maintenance area, as we talked about. All types of city fleet, from the police department, fire department, transit. So it's not only just city fleet, but it's citywide fleet that gets maintained there. Public Works Department provides the operation of the flood control system. There's 3 permanent pumping stations and 1 temporary pumping station. This was a demonstration project that we put together. We have over 20,000 feet of those temporary barriers, those HESCO barriers, available to us in case we would need to use those. These are the ice harbor gates down in the Port of Dubuque. We respond to all types of events. This one happens to be a summer storm event. Of course, we provide all the solid waste and maintain snow for both streets and some of the public-owned facilities. This is a landfill operation. We have a gas collection system at the landfill. We maintain both the street lighting, traffic signals, and the street lighting system, and the camera systems, which have grown to quite a lot here in the last few years. We pave on an average over 7 miles a year. This year, it's going to be up to 10 miles is the goal for this year. Part of that paving also includes a replacement of corner handicap ramps and bring those up to speed, so up to the current standards. We have full snow and ice control program, anti-icing, plowing, de-icing, and removal operations. Well, I hope that gave you some background on some of the things that our people do out in the field each and every day to serve the community. As we talked about earlier, we normally would meet here and we do a walk around at this time. So I'll try to take you a walk through of what the facility itself looks like to help support the operations of the staff and Public Works Department itself. It's a shared facility. Public Works Department and the Water Distribution Department also shares a small section of this building. So the building was constructed in 2005. At that time, prior to the construction of this building, Public Works had a facility where the Jewel Training Center is and storage, the bus storage facility is on Kerper Boulevard. The water distribution was actually down in the Port of Dubuque on Water Street. That facility has been removed and our Public Works facility has also been removed. And we were able to build this joint facility that really meets the needs of both of us, both of our departments. The facility itself is over 126,000 square feet, which is a pretty good sized building. 90,000 square feet of that is for vehicle storage and general shops. There's 97 total parking bays in the facility. 67 are for large vehicles and equipment. 30 of those are for light duty type and storage areas. So as we go through this, we'll see a lot of different types of equipment that we use on a regular basis. So the first slide, as you would walk in through those doors that were up on the first slide, you'd enter into the main area, and normally there would be 2 staff at this area, and this is really where most of our work starts with Public Works. They enter the calls, they create the work orders or citizen requests, as they're commonly called, and then those are created and handed out to the staff that work on those type of requests and things that are generated by the public. Now, we also have an internal system where there's a lot of things that are seen throughout the day by staff, and those are also entered into a work order system and goes from there. If you would come in and you would look through the water department, distribution, you would be directed down a hallway, and they have a small office, and this is where you would enter to talk to them. As we would walk through the doors, we can go out into the vehicle storage area. This is actually on the north, looking to the south in one of the lanes, but you can see some of the type of equipment that we use. This is from upstairs in the mezz, looking down on that vehicle storage area. There's a dividing wall where the solid waste trucks are on the other side stored, but this is pretty much the blue trucks are for water distribution. You can see those up front, some of their equipment. The rest of the yellow and the white is Public Works. A lot of different size equipment used in Public Works. This is one of our smaller trucks, dump trucks. This would be what we consider a 1-ton truck. This one's kind of unique though, because it's fueled with natural gas. So it's CNG is a fuel instead of diesel. That's part of a project, a demonstration project, or pilot program that we started a few years ago. We purchased in conjunction with 2 of our partners, a gas company, Black Hills and Rainbow Oil. And we're looking to see how CNG may fit into the Public Works operations. Now, that's a smaller unit. We also have a pickup truck that's can be fueled both with CNG and gasoline, and then we have a full-size snow and ice control unit that is strictly CNG. This is one of our larger pieces of equipment on the Public Works operations side. This is a sewer jet. So this is used to both clean manholes and the sanitary sewer system. Can be used in the storm sewer system. But what's unique about this one, we also have a jet that's strictly a jet. This is a jet and a vac. So the hose you can see in the front of the unit is used to vacuum out debris out of a manhole or a catch basin. Very, very critical piece of maintaining the sanitary sewer system. On the other side of the wall we talked about is where our solid waste fleet sits. So we have different types of solid waste vehicles that we use. Side loaders, most common are common side loaders, which are 1-man operation. We have some rear loaders, which are a 2-person operation. New coming up will be an automated truck that has an arm on it that will serve the areas that have our cart system in. We hope to have that out available in the field by sometime late summer. So we're excited for that. A lot of other type of equipment, small equipment. These are pumps that can be used for construction, repair, maintenance, or there's some larger 10-inch pumps that are for snow and ice control. We also store our carts down here. So every year we get a supply of carts, and people have the option. These are not mandatory. These are optional carts. So if you want to subscribe to a city-owned cart, you would call us at that front desk, and they take your information, and they'll get you signed up for a cart. The smallest of the carts there are the same rate as the basic unit cart, basic city-wide basic service cart. And then the larger cart, since we have a pay-as-you-throw system, would have an additional fee with that. You see the blue recycling carts in the back are also available at no fee. If you feel that you put out enough of recycling that would be beneficial to us, you would also want to give us a call about that. Food scraps is another thing that we provide a special card for. That's a subscription per year. And unlimited recycling is part of your base fee. So that's also part of some of the storage things that we have handy here, and hand that out on a regular basis. All those requests would go through the Public Works Department at 589-4250. A lot of different type of equipment is stored. Our end loaders are used for a number of different things. You saw the snow removal, snow operations, plowing. This time of the year, they'll have buckets on. All the equipment is set up so they can be switched over in a rather short period of time, depending on what our uses are. This is our fleet maintenance area. At the time of this picture, you can see quite a few buses in there at this time. A solid waste truck is in there, 2 of them. Service going on those are repairs, a small dump truck and a pickup. So our technicians are really talented, and they're able to switch from the smallest type of equipment and maintain it like a lawnmower or something, a small construction piece of equipment, all the way up to our largest piece of equipment like the solid waste trucks we see here. But we also support the police and fire department also. So really a wide range of equipment. Along with the building, we also have outside storage for supplies. The dome on the end is part of our salt storage facility here on site. That will hold about 1,500 tons of salt, which will get us through, depending on the storm, it could be as much as 3 or 4 storms. We usually don't let that get too low. We like to take it from the Prena dry facility and keep this in stock. So when we have a chance to do that between storms, that's one of the things that we do, prepare for the next storm, and that's make sure we have adequate salt supplies at this site, so that throughout the operation we're able to work out of here and have it handy. We also have a brine maker on site here. That's in that first door. So we're really well set up for our snow and ice control operations. Having all the equipment inside is really a benefit. Increases the life of the equipment. It also eliminates problems at the start of an operation, to have everything in place, under cover and ready to go. This is a Prena Drive salt storage facility. This is where we'll bring it up on barges, unloaded at the dock, and then it'll be placed in this facility until it's moved over to the facility that we just showed on the that's located at Kerper Court here. This facility will hold about 15,000 ton, whereas the other one will hold about 1,500 ton. This facility can hold about 15,000 ton. And what we like to do is have a 2-year supply of salt stored in this facility at the start of the year. So we usually use about 5,000 ton average. We a little bit less this year. We're more like 42 to 4,300 ton this year of salt that was used. Now we had less storms than average. We had 17 storm events, but we had 59, almost 60 inches of snow, which is well above our average of 43 inches per year. So that means that we had less events, but we had greater accumulations, which I'm sure everybody remembers. We also have a fuel island on site. It's across the street from the main facility. And the small building in the back of the fuel island that we're looking at is water distribution building. So the water department sells bulk water. So contractors that need to use a lot of water on site, whether it be for boring or any type sawing, or they'll buy water from the city and they'll load it up out of here. Well, anywhere from 500 gallons at a time to actually a tanker load, which is about 7,000 gallons. So a wide range of trucks will use that. All the fuel that is used here is used by the city of Dubuque or Dubuque County. We have an agreement with Dubuque County where the sheriff's department can fuel up here. All those costs, of course, are charged back to Dubuque County. All the costs for the fuel, as we talked about, is recharged back to the departments that have the vehicles. Final thing I want you to be aware of, down at the Municipal Services Center, we do have a recycling drop-off station, and that's in partnership with the Landfill Agency. We have a glass drop-off. That's the purple container here. So any type of food jars, any color, beverage glass, anything like that can be recycled. They can be dropped off here. We also have those glass containers at Northwest Arterial Hy-Vee and also at the landfill for glass. So 3 locations for glass. If you're not served by the city of Dubuque and you want to recycle, or if you have a large amount that you don't want to store and wait for recycling, these bins are available for you. And these are open 24 hours a day, and they're located across from the Municipal Service Center building by the fuel island. With that, I just want to thank you for your time, and would take any questions if we have any from the group.
Hi there, my name is Kathy, and I was just wondering, I had 2 questions. One for the automated truck, for the recycling. I didn't know if that was for recycling and garbage or just for garbage, where it was going to be the automated truck.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for clarification. At this time, that's only going to be used for our trash or garbage. So
wonderful. And then I was just wondering, I know that I remember hearing from a friend of mine, they had a lot of recycling at their home, and that the city of Dubuque was asking for, or was giving people who have a large amount of recycling a test kind of pilot for recycling carts instead of the bins. Is that something that you guys are thinking of moving towards, is using recycling carts, or keep going with the bins?
right. So the blue recycling carts are available for those who feel that would benefit them. we'll also continue with the bins because a lot of people don't really need that big of a container, is what we've been hearing. So it works out well for those who need it. But, you know, myself, it's just my family's grown. So it's just the two of us at our home, and, you know, two containers work out really well for us, two of the bins. You know, majority of the time, we'll only have one. It's nice to have that second one if you have a company and you have some overflow or something. But so for me, that would be probably something that I'm comfortable with using the bins that I have. Don't really have a need for a larger one, but we've expanded that program to any citizen who feels that they could benefit from the larger cart. We'll make that available for them.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry. I had kiddos coming and talking to me about tablet time. So I just wanted to mute my, thank you for that information.
That's all important. Thank you.
Those are great questions. Anybody else got some questions that you're wondering or asking? Maybe, I know there was in a previous session, somebody once asked if there was like a flood that's going on and one of the manhole, the top is off. Should do you recommend for community members to, if you see it, to try and push it and close it, or what is the process, or what do they do when they see something like that?
Yeah, so normally that's going to be a manhole, a storm sewer manhole that surcharged. So the pipe, it would happen after a intense heavy rain, and that would lift that manhole off, the manhole cover off. Overall, I would suggest if possible, you would just call a non-emergency number if it's after hours or weekends. That's a non-emergency dispatch number, 589-4415. Or if it's during the workday, normal hours anywhere between 6:30 and 4 o'clock, the Public Works would be available to put those back on. Those lids are really pretty heavy, and there's a lot of pinch points on that. So I probably wouldn't recommend doing that unless of course you feel comfortable. But sometimes if they're just up a little, and they're not completely off, sometimes a little, you can do it with your foot. But overall, I would suggest that you just call for assistance on that. And we would appreciate that, because a lot of times we'll send, after those heavy summer rain, normally summer rains, we'll dispatch people out just to look for those. So after hours, that non-emergency number at police dispatch at the Emergency Operations Center is a great way to get that information to us. One thing I didn't mention, but our asphalt paving program, if you want more information on that, we have those lists, streets that we're going to work on this summer as far as asphalt paving up on our website. If you want to review those, there's about, I believe it is over 10 miles, and I think there's about 54 sections of streets that will be out resurfacing this summer.
Maybe this also could be a question that's out there. I know I've heard amongst previous City Life participants, but how does the whole selection of like, hey, we're going to close this road down to do paving or whatever, how do you select that? Or is there a routine, or is it more based off of going out there and just seeing based off of wear and tear?
Yep, you're right. So all those things are important. So visual observation, maintenance records, but the real driving force is OCI ratings, or condition ratings that are taken by the state of Iowa every 3 years. So every 3 years, they'll drive the city streets and they'll collect observation ratings. And then they'll put that, and that's done automated through a truck that sensors the streets. And then they'll come up with a rating between 100 being the best and 0, of course, being the worst. We like to do streets where we can spend the dollars on and raise that rating up. So we like to work on streets that are above 50 for our type of maintenance, and that's an asphalt overlay. So we will remove up to 2 inches of asphalt and lay down 2 inches of asphalt to replace that. Now the engineering department has a different type of program, and there's our total reconstruction programs. So if that rating has fallen and the street has fallen to a point where a simple overlay or even a major rehab of that street is just not going to pencil out on the valuation, then they'll go in and do a total reconstruction. But we really like to maintain our streets the best we can, doing maintenance dollars instead of reconstruction dollars. Maintenance projects are not accessible to the property owner, so the whole city benefits from it, and the whole city pays for it based on the road use tax dollars formulas that we have. Reconstruction projects are more in depth, and they are accessible. They bring value to the neighborhood and to the homeowners, and there's also an assessment that goes with that. So our projects in public works are non-accessible, and we'd like to work on those streets where we get the most, we'll say, bang for our buck.
So John, you're telling me that the construction doesn't happen because I'm waking up, just 10 minutes before I have to get to work. I'm in a rush, and that main street that I usually go to, all of a sudden, boom, there's construction. That this is the day they're planning on just getting me a little bit more late.
Unfortunately, we have those type of things that come up. I'll say, one of those emergency operations that come up would be a water main break.
Right.
So if a water main would break, yeah, those are unplanned, and they may make you late, Kimwa, because I know that you're right down to the last second with all your new family additions there and things that you have to do. So those type of things can happen. We really try to plan out. We try to send out media notices and let everybody know where we're working. But of course, the best laid plans also end up being changed at the last minute. So we do the best we can. A lot of times we'll plan for something, and then of course, if we have weather delays, that'll change things also. But we do the best we can. We try to inform the public as we go, and but yeah, and then there's also, and right now there's a lot of it going on, and that's underground boring going on. You see the boring companies out. Those are not, while they're working in the street right away, and the engineering department permits and oversights those, they're not directly city employees doing that work. So there's contractors that do work both for businesses in the right of way, and then also for residents. So that may affect also work that's being done in the street. Maybe a contractor is putting in a new water service for a homeowner. That's probably going to require some type of excavation in the street. Once again, those type of projects are usually, when possible, are usually put out with a notice of street delays, and hopefully you can find a different route around.
Where can anybody find like the notifications of either a street closure or something like that? Is there a location or place that they can look out for?
Yeah, you can actually sign up for all the notifications that go out through the city for a lot of different things, not just street. But if you go to citydubuque.org/notify me, you can sign up those and you can get all those notifications either by email or I believe text. But that's all through Randy Gale and his department there. But that's a great way, and you can sign up. Maybe you don't want to know about everything, but maybe you just want to know when there's going to be paving program work or something, or engineering doing construction work in the street. I believe you can sign up for the types of notifications that you want to get. But that's, once again, citydubuque.org/notify me.
Awesome, awesome. Anyone have any other questions? I'm trying to find one of these images which I took a year or so on our last City Life program, and it was very intriguing because when you are driving, I mean, for the most part, we don't really we notice the street signs, we notice the traffic light. I hope we notice the traffic light or when it's a red light, green light. But have you ever really noticed how the actual size of a traffic light is? If you had it on the ground compared, and I'm trying to find where I had this this image of it, but John, how tall are the
Yeah,
actual
so the traffic
lights?
signals, depending on if they're 3 head or if they're 4 head, and sometimes they're even 5 head. So, but a standard signal would be about 5 feet tall. So it's a lot larger than what you think. And I thought I had some pictures also of some signs in here. Some of the signs can really get large, especially if they're mounted up on the mast arms above the intersection itself. So those signs can be in the, easily be 6, 8, 10 feet long sometimes. Some of the larger ones. But of course, most of the street name signs are probably in the 2-foot range. So they really vary. But yeah, the staff handles a lot of different things.
I've always been fascinated about that part of the tour. Again, if you, I highly encourage you, if you ever get an opportunity just to be around the public works area, to check out, stop in just to see how everything kind of looks like and goes. I think I almost found one. Otherwise,
Hey, Tim, this is
I would-
Wally.
Yep.
Hey, you got a great question in the chat function from Kathy asking John.
Oh, perfect. Thank you for catching
John,
that.
he's what, we have a couple people are wondering, where does our city recycling go once it's been sorted by the recycling collection people?
Oh, that is a great question. So thanks for asking that. So the city partners with Dittmer Recycling, and Dittmer Recycling actually runs the MRF, they call it, where our collections crews take the recycling. They'll dump it off, and Dittmer Recycling, if you're not familiar with it, as a shop out on Radford Road, a facility. From there, they'll actually do the separation and actually do the marketing for us. So it's a partnership with the city. We pay $60 a ton for that separation and marketing, and then under a cost share agreement, we'll receive 50% of the profits from the material that we take in. So that reduces the cost of the recycling program for us. But Dittmer Recycling is our partner on that. So it's quite an operation. As you know, we pick it up and it's co-mingled, so everything's together. And then once we dump it on the ground there, they'll start to run it through their equipment that separates it all out. And then we get the final product then is separated and shipped. Nothing is used in Dubuque, it's all shipped out of town. The glass that we talked about is a little bit different. That does not go to Dittmer Recycling. That goes to the landfill where it's kept separate and stored out there. That is picked up then through a partnership and then taken to Cedar Rapids or down to Kansas City, in which that glass is then crushed and ground, and that's made into either new glass or else fiberglass insulation. So Ripple Glass is our partner on glass. So 2 partners when it comes to recycling.
John, I was just wondering, when Dittmer Recycling, you're saying that they ship it out of town, is that going out overseas? Is that staying in our country? I was just curious if you knew that information.
Well, you know, it's kind of hard to track where everything ends up going, but since China was a big market area until a few years ago, when they started to reject some of the recycling material that was being sent to them, they're starting to open up a little bit more for metal. But because of that, there's new I'll call it remanufacturing or process would be a better name, process facilities in the States now than what we had prior to that. And they're starting to come online, and we've seen that change in the cost. I'd say a year ago, there was very low value to a lot of the recycling materials because, you know, there was an overabundance of it. Since that has changed with these new facilities coming online, and it's easier to move that material within the states now. So it's much better and easier. I would say, so the process for us, it would go to Dittmer. Dittmer would then either sell it directly to one of these facilities or through a third party then that would find a market for it. Now, India is a big area for recycling products from the United States. So it still could go out of the country, but it's hard to track once it gets to another, unless it goes directly to one of the facilities in the States. So it's,
Thank you.
I guess it's not real clear where exactly if it ends up in the States or overseas.
Just doesn't wind up in the landfill, right?
That we know it doesn't happen because we also run the landfill, so we know that that does not happen in Dubuque. Now, you know, one important thing about recycling, though, is the focus isn't on the tonnage. It's really about clean recycling. So we want to make sure that we're actually providing good, clean recycling material instead of terminology that they used to call wish recycling. So the phrase now, when in doubt, throw it out. So if it's something that's marginal, if it's a piece of plastic that you think, well, I don't really see it, but it's plastic. Well, not all plastic's recyclable. So, you know, 1 through 5 is all we want, and we want it, you know, clean so it can be used. So if it's soiled or, you know, with food or something, you're probably best just to, you know, you have the 2 options, either wash it and get it at least fairly clean or or just trash it, one of the two. But the real focus, and it's really important that the focus is on quality recycling materials.
Awesome, awesome. These are all great questions. Any other, let me see. All right, I see no more in the chat function. I'm just gonna do a quick little share real quick. Because again, I was able to find the picture.
All right, there you go.
There's the traffic light. So if you have ever wondered how big they actually are on the ground, this is how big that they are.
So that would be a 3-section head. So you can see there's just 3 lights there, but some of those can go to 5. So
that's right.
Next time you see them out, you'll be able to see that, well, that's a bigger one than what we saw. It's the number of lights that are on them. So you can make the size.
Awesome. Well, if there's no further questions, thank you so much for your time, John. This has been awesome. Again, I look forward to when we're in person.